UAB only about 6.5 minutes.
What a good looking stroke Stewart has, and it's tough to defend because he's got those long arms. He has that ability to create space even when you're up on him tight.
Toney muscling it in.
Opposite wing to the ball side, design play to run it through the post. UAB fell asleep.
Lendenborg guarded by Wright. Size advantage there. They switch out on him. Now to Toney. He's done it again. Toney.
And Black already cooking early on. He caught fire yesterday in the second round game. And here he is picking up where he left off.
Toney sets the feet, lets it fly. Both teams coming out.
Shots have been falling for ECU, but they're going to have to get it done on the defensive end. They're going to have to get some stops going to get some defense and offense, because exchanging buckets with UAB isn't the recipe.
Lendenborg gives it up, sets the screen for Toney. Cutting Coleman, but a little clogged up in the inside. Toney to the deck, knocks the three.
In the game, but you need to continue to play the game in an organic fashion and take what the defense gives you. He's been able to take advantage of his mismatches offensively, and he should do so by trying to get the point production himself.
Toney, nothing but nylon from.
Always good to watch high-level basketball. You talk about that 1 seed. Memphis was in a dog fight today, but able to get it done.
Toney, look out!
He's half points here today.
And he only had 3 points in that matchup in Birmingham. The development of Cam Williams has been something that we've watched all season long. As you talked about earlier, when he's aggressive, when he's getting baskets, it's playing a much more formidable team.
Tyron Moore kicks. Toney connects.
Great connection. Finishes.
Glenn with 8 points now, 4-point lead for FAU as Coleman's now calling for it.
I like this mismatch if Jackson can get in the post.
Johnson. It's cut off by Carroll. Shot clock's at 5. Here goes Toney flying through.
That is beautiful right there.
There's Lendenborg jumping out, trying to get the ball away from the guard. And a steal for Toney. Toney gets it back, corner 3, got it. Toney's 3, and it's knocked down. Kobe Rogers, that's his second 3 of the game.
When we talked to Andy Kennedy, he talked on the one player that you can't allow to be open. It's got to be Kobe Rogers, and he's doing a great job. Penny Hardaway's dialing up some nice action, and his team is recognizing how to play against the defense of the Blazers.
There goes Toney, strong drive with the left, and he finishes with his right.
Well, the
corner pass now, Beverly. Washington adjusting. Good defense there by Azuero. Kick wide open in the corner. The 3 is up and in.
David, I was a little surprised that didn't go back to Temple. Yet UAB comes up with it.
Temple showing some zone look. Here's Lendenborg on the cut. Kicks in the corner. Toney got it.
We've already.
It's an 11-3 Temple run. Vasquez keeps it alive with a punch out. And Toney for 3. Another second triple of the. Patrick, thank you. I'd like to welcome those of you who watched North Texas knock off USF 64-57. Tom Hart alongside Dane Bradshaw. Temple and UAB in a rematch of the American Athletic Conference Championship game last year. This is only the 7th meeting all time between the two basketball programs. Here's Toney. He is red hot early. And shot clock now at 3. Johnson fires. And Toney with the tip. Second opportunity, 3rd chance, got it. Toney. Axel Lendenborg says, I'll shoot it. They keep it alive again. Here's Toney. He's done it again. Toney
by 1.
Toney inside.
USF team did a lot of magic last year. They had a lot of success and they played with a lot of confidence. Part of their problem this year, they felt like, in talking to the coach, that they're not playing with that same kind of confidence. So that's why he's gone back to this veteran lineup.
Defensive
You
substitution.
switch everything, switch everything, switch everything.
Taking it into Moore. Trap. Lendeborg. Johnson wide open. Toney.
Timing was completely off. You know what kind of touch you have to be able to corral it off of the backboard. And that wasn't just a soft touch off the backboard. That was a beamer.
The lead at 2. Lendeborg. Corner 3 up. That's good. Toney.
Can you find a matchup you like and take advantage of it? They tried to there with Sissoko down low, but McGee just fights for his position. That's unbelievable for your guard to guard the big man like that.
Chance to push for the Blazers in the corner. 3 is good.
Hold on.
Toney.
Andy Kennedy really likes to play call in the half court, and rightfully so. He's got some really good sets, put his players in position to be successful.
Lendeborg in the corner. There's the double. And he finds Toney out of it. Protects.
15 points from last year's win over UAB. UAB returns 40.
And that's the difference, and you can tell UAB this season.
Shadow against Yaks. Yaks with the steal. Trying to go around the defender. Nice lead pass. Bucket. Coleman, the jab step, and that winds up
5 minutes or so of the second half. Dangerously close.
Oh, what a finish by game of his life. He's a freshman, so he hasn't had a whole lot of games.
Right.
This is a standout game. He finally misses a free throw. He has a career best 8 points, 5 out of 6 from the line. Came in averaging 2 points per game. Wide open for a 3-ball. Switch. Waiting. How about that?
There's another one.
There's another one, right.
Bradford able to slide away from him.
Ben Bradford does not want this game to end. He might be shooting when the team's in the locker room and getting on a plane.
I remember being a freshman, and those really good games were few and far between sometimes because you have some up and down moments as a freshman.
That closeout, that lane parted like the Red Sea right there. Michael trapped on the baseline, turned it over. Lendeborg, quick head ahead. And Toney converts it this time. Tough shot. They were a little late. Don't get me wrong, a little late, but that was still decent defense. And just, what do I say, Chad? Sometimes shot makers are just better on own than the defense. 71-65 now. 2-possession game. Lendeborg isolated against Isaiah Barnes. You see how much attention he draws? And it creates a wide.
Just burning UAB on all of the switches. Just a poor job that time by the Blazers. They didn't come together and they didn't communicate on the switch. And great recognition by Hunter just to keep it himself.
Toney with an open 3. Lendeborg kicked his team to have that same level of focus they had in the non-conference when they played this ridiculous schedule, rated the number 2 non-conference strength of schedule in the country. Toney strokes the 2. Some Bellarmine fan just threw something on the court. Toney inside for 2.
From the corner, no good. Rebound, Toney. Toney has done Toney again.
And that time, that's lack of communication from UAB defensively. Monsanto coming off of a seemingly non-existent down screen. That time, not even a real screen.
Toney trying to answer and does.
The turnover. Lendeborg plays a lot of minutes, about 32 per game. Now Toney worked hard to get that. UAB, an aggressive rebounding team. You don't get many second chances. There's another block by Green. Blazers recover. Toney with the short jumper, and the Blazers have a chance to add to their lead.
Green was more open than he thought. He could have just taken it right to the basket. Instead settled for a 5-6 foot jumper.
Bulls haven't scored in 3 minutes. Here's Toney again. Great ball movement and a line. Jennings launches a three. And McGee the rebound. Here come the Blazers. McGee with the spin. Toney with the three. As Coleman picks off the pass. That's the 5th turnover for the Bulls.
Yeah, a couple times now we've seen the Bulls just get lost, leaving their feet, nowhere to go. It leads to a turnover.
Toney has been hot, and he stays there. A lot of points being left at the free throw line.
Multiple 0 for 2s from the line from South Florida here tonight, trying to make their comeback. Can't leave points at the line, and a lot of those have come here in the second half.
7 missed free throws for South Florida. Stroud working the defense. Toney off the glass.
We'll try to get a trap here in the backcourt. They get the cross. You got to start looking to foul.
Nice job to get it up court, and Toney gets
the outs. They've had like 8 different leading scorers in games. They have, exactly 8. Not like 8. I can read. Lendebourg kicks it. Toney hits it for 3. The sack, and you hit for an open shooter. Tandy's open. Breaks it. Right to Toney. Toney in transition. Toney will take it to the hole and score. That leads to a turnover, possibly a pick 6. He's really just got to be more polished at times and understand situations where you need a good possession. That was the 58th field goal attempt in 14 and a half minutes of this game. 3 for Toney, rattles in his second. Forward for FAU, which can take the lead after trailing by 5 1/2, and they will not on an erasure from Lendebourg. Back for Toney. Wow. His 3rd 3.
Equal that and then some. It's a great night for him so far. UAB that time not able to get back in transition. Green able to leak out for the easy one. But you got to love the aggressiveness of the Blazers. There's another 3. Because typically the inbounder throws it in. He may not step in right away. Right.
Approaching 4 minutes left in the first half. UAB with the basketball, and they're up by 1. Toney from the right wing. And another
drawn between Yaxel Lendebourg and Christian Coleman.
A steal by Lendebourg. Toney again, yes.
The momentum shifting toward the Blazers, but you don't want to ruin it by taking a tough shot.
Oh. Another swat by Lendebourg. It's amazing that he leads the team in scoring, rebounds, blocks, and steals.
He's doing a little bit of everything tonight.
That's why there's usually at least 2 NBA scouts at every game. Toney! Endeavors down there in New Orleans at Tulane, so I thought that was kind of a classy move. They love their basketball in Indiana, especially there at IU. Good ball movement. Toney! Wow!
To make money, a lot of money in the NBA.
Willis, there's the 3 look. Around and out. Rebound Coleman. UAB so good in transition. Best fast break team in the country. Lendebourg underneath. Yes! Give the assist.
It's also physical and has a defensive presence to it.
Vasquez short. Back out to Toney. UAB is such a good offensive rebounding team. We haven't really touched on it much, but it gives you chances to. UAB still has its starters in. There's a steal. Here comes Toney. Nash gets back, and Toney scores.
Baseline three won't go.
And that time Williams with an open, clean look. That time UAB miscommunicating. That time on transition D, Alcorn not able to take advantage.
But Toney does.
Cut right behind Christian Coleman. Christian Coleman recognized the mismatch on the other side of the court. Oh! UAB's requiring him to do a lot, obviously, but what makes him so effective is that he doesn't have to score the basketball every time. He's able to play within himself and let the game come to him. Now, there are moments in the games.
And you're going to need Vasquez to get you between 6 and 8 a game. He cannot come up empty because he's a good outside shooter. And there he is, wide open. Lorenzo Downey from Canada. That's a three from the wing that won't go. And a rebound for Moore. Looks to push. Got Coleman. Feeds inside. UAB using their guards to get some.
Out of the three-point line, no real pressure from UAB defensively so far this half.
Ye trying to dig in on Moore. Toney gave him three.
That's the thing about Andy Kennedy. If you play well, you will play.
Toney was off balance. So Toney will try a three. Yes. Their numbers are better than they were last year. Opportunity for Jabari McGee. Little highlight piece. He did that on purpose.
You know, everyone's wrapped up in starting, of course, but being able to be on the floor when the game's being decided is ultimately, as a player, what you want.
So Ezeguero will jump, and he's one of the new guys, and we'll take a look at the UAB lineup first. Also, Tyron Moore is back in the starting lineup. There's the Blazer 5. Greg Gordon is, or Jabari McGee rather, is the other wing. It's Toney, the Iron Man for UAB. Looking for big things for Ezeguero, and a nice dish. A good three shooter. Back to 6 out of 12 on the year. 50%. Keep shooting. So 7-0 lead is now 9-5 UAB. Here's Moore, open look. Turns it down, gives up a shot.
In position to be in the tournament in March. Guys want to play back in March Madness. They need their best players to be their best. The pump fake.
Lead down to 7. Toney gets contact.
That schedule is going to hurt for a little bit with the travel. Tough teams on the road. Very, very difficult places to play. But if you're Coach Smith, you realize that the SWAC is probably going to get the conference tournament champion in, as we said last week. And you've got to love that enthusiasm and support, especially from the biggest, essentially the biggest star on campus.
And I know what it means.
Big roster turnover for North Texas, but again, they're winning games. They knocked off Minnesota earlier this year.
And a 7-second differential shot clock, game clock here.
Little zone now coming out of timeout from Nick McDevitt. Changed the pace a little bit against this UAB offense.
Here's the block
off.
Over to Toney, 3-ball, got it, big one.
Turn that defense into offense. It's been successful.
Oh, Mike Keys will create some havoc, and the Raging Cajuns have done that here in the half-court defense.
Corner three for Toney, yes.
Well, now you got a chance. Can you build upon those things that you struggled with yesterday?
Banks left it short. In the corner, Toney launches the three, and it's good. So 6-0 run for Longwood. UAB looking for some answers. Toney, offensive rebound, put back. Johnson launched 2 of the 3 in the first half. He will trigger it into McGee as we begin half number 2.
Well, the Blazers played Vermont in the opener and didn't make a 3 the first time, and it hadn't happened in a long, long time. But Andy Kennedy thinks his team can get the lid off from outside the arc. Oh, nice play. In their execution.
Thus, 1 point gain.
The kick out to Toney. Toney drives baseline and just takes it right.
Another clean look opportunity in the corner.
Same shot, Butter. Toney keeps the possession alive and gets 2 points on a threat with his first 2 points. Or the floor. Eswere's having an absolute perfect night. 5 field goals, 5 attempts, 5 free throws, 5 attempts. Moore turns down the three. Toney hits the three.
You just have to keep shooting. You're going to get opportunities, and at some point they're not going to be as clean. So you've got to find a way to keep knocking in the clean ones for sure.
Toney from the left side.
Second chance opportunity. Good rebounding Blazers team. They misfire a second time, but a third chance will fall, and UAB gets the first bucket. 16 points. Lead back up to a dozen. 6 minutes to play. The Blazers looking for another rally. Toney to the cup. That's a good looking.
It's a tough break for him because he did do a nice job defensively pretty much the entire possession, but great athleticism by Williams gets you 3.
Lead boosted back to 8. Johnson harassed by Hamilton. No hesitation. 3-pointer, and what a big bucket for.
Able to knock in the 3. We saw him start to stretch the floor a little bit at the end of last season. Opening games, he took a pretty good amount of threes, a couple of threes against Vermont, as well as Southern Miss.
And the board, kick out. Toney for 3. Bingo! Possession. And strong move from the left side, no good. Lizzie with the miss. UAB trying to run. Toney with the finish.
I hope he shares his story. And sometimes your dream doesn't always come packaged the way that it does for other players and other people.
Toney trying to drive and run and score. You know,
you can see him pointing that way.
See our camera work there. We got a quick shot of both coaches. Tyron Moore, alley-oop. It will count. Alley-oop, and then slammed home. Toney slams it home as well.
UAB didn't have a ton of clean open looks, but couldn't find a way to make any. Hopefully tonight will be a little different.
There is a steal for Lindeborg. Up ahead for the slam. Great starting Blazers out of the gate here. Pull up 3 for Watson. That's no good. Golden Eagles can't get everything. Fast break. Layup is good. And the foul. Alvarez. Watson loses his dribble.
And that's the play I didn't understand. I thought Watson had a direct line to the rim.
Toney! Cleared for takeover in this game. Alvarez. Corner 3 ball. Gordon. Long rebound. Toney's on the move. Toney puts it down with a